Hello and welcome back to another housing video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Now, covering the housing items added in patch 6.5 and beyond has been quite the ordeal. There's been lots that required unlocking, and there are some that I totally forgot even existed, like these Thor. So today we're looking at 4 items, indoors items. These are the classic Secrataire, which is an elegant desk, perfect for penning what the less dignified might consider an excessive amount of missives, which is a carpenter recipe. We've got a cluster lamp, which is a tabletop lamp that says, this artificial crystal formation produces a gentle glow, certain to give heart to a long-time adventurers. Okay, and then we've got the imitation trapdoor. It says all of the excitement of a true trapdoor with none of the deadly pits below, sadly. And then we've got the Bubbly Mogfloat, which is a tabletop food item that is consumable, but when is eaten 10 times will change, obviously, visually, and you can also destroy it that way. It says a tall glass of pom fizz topped with a heaping scoop of frosty ice cream. That sounds lovely. All of these items are dyeable in one way or another, and these are the crafting recipes for them. So for the Secretaire, that's a woodworking level 90 recipe, very basic, usual recommendation of craftsmanship with red pine lumber, ink and quill, classified documents and tallow candle in those amounts. We have the cluster lamp, which is a basic goldsmithing level 90 recipe. Same recommended craftsmanship using prism stone, blue spirit tiles and anite whetstone. We have the imitation trapdoor, which is a level 90 woodworking recipe. Once again, basic craft with ironwood lumber and high durium ingots. And we also have the Bubbly Mogfloat as well, which is obviously culinarian cooking recipe using Thunder melon, vanilla beans, sweet cream, palm sugar, effervescent water, and bubble chocolate. Again, basic recipe. Quite a lot of ingredients for that one to make that. So let's go into, recently Fran was able to get a property in a game. Let's use this as a nice place to demonstrate. She's left me a nice section upstairs that isn't cluttered, so let's use that. Nice open space. I'm starting to lose space in the other places. We need to start doing a bit of a clear out. So let's plop down the Secretaire first, because then we've got a table. This is what this looks like then in basic lighting. I actually really like this off the bat, simply because it is super detailed with lots of items. Let's do a quick rotation as well. Lots of lovely wood textures there. I do like the candle light immediately, my first reaction, and I like the wood grain on the back of that as well. Looking good from many different angles, and there's lots of awesome surprises in this as well, as you'll see. So one of the things is this little wax sealed envelope. I don't know what could possibly be in there. Hopefully our invitation to the new world, much like Kryl. We've got a stamp set here. We've got the quill, which was obviously one of the crafting recipe components. We have ourselves a book. We could say that's a recipe book or whatever we want to. I do like this though, the candelabra, like the candle holder thing. The flickering flame, very nice use of that texture. I think we've seen it a few times on a few other items, but it isn't the basic flame that they used to use for housing items. They've come a long way since those first few. We've got this tiny little pot plant or whatever that's gonna be, tiny little thing with leaves, very nice, and some different bottles of bits and pieces. You could pretend those are inks and things if you'd like to. It's a writing desk, that's what a Secretaire is, and of course at the top here we've got a stack of papers. Very, very nice. Quick look at dyeability for this then. In terms of furnishings, as you would imagine, we've got some different colors that affect the wood grain. So the wood grain coming out a lot clearer in brighter colors, such as, well, white, obviously, and a lot more, well, impossible to see on darker colors, which is nice. Yeah, I like that. Seems a little bit washed out in places, depending on the color. But for the most part, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Really, really nice. I like the fact that those individual drawers have like scrolls in and other candles, different colored candles. Very cool. If you wanted to have different colored wax seals, I presume, right? Very nice. I actually really like this. Obviously, the use case scenario is probably going to be in different shades of brown. So we can have like walnut and chestnut. to match other furniture within, let's say, your study or whatever this might be placed into. The default color is this kind of dark, almost red sort of color. Okay, so the next item, I think it would be a good idea to look at the Bubbly Mogfloat, because that's a tabletop item, and that's what that looks like. Let's place that awkwardly in the middle of that area where we would want to create letters and missives. So as you can see, this Moogle is having the time of his life with a cherry on his head. It's adorable. And then we've got this deep spoon, obviously deep down into that. It looks so nice, looks frosty. I don't know what this would taste like. Is this transparent? Are we seeing the sort of cool, almost antifreeze like liquid inside? I'm not sure. This cream looks absolutely delicious though, doesn't it? And that kind of little coil there with the cherry on top. Oh, it's the sort of thing you would see advertised for the Eorzea Cafe. I've always wanted to go to that, and people have always said, oh, Meoni, if you ever go to Japan, you must go to the Eorzea Cafe. I would love to go to Japan, and this would be something I would want to definitely try, or something that they would make. But yeah, very cool stuff. In terms of dyeability for this item then, I believe it's the glass. Yeah, very cool. So we can change the color of the beverage if we want to, or pretend. I think it's supposed to be porcelain, like a weird porcelain glass, like a pot or something, almost like a vase. Yeah, looks cool, doesn't it? It's an interesting choice. So if you want to, I don't know, have something that looks like it's got cherry liquid in it or something, you could pretend that's transparent. Yeah, it would match better with whatever, you know, you're ordering in your restaurant. You could have different flavors. You could RP that it is actually transparent and you're looking at different flavors and different things on a recipe book. I can imagine people will absolutely love that. Great dye options, honestly. A lot of these items are going to be even cooler when we get backwards compatibility, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, with the dual dye channel palette in the future. One of the last things to look at then is we actually need to eat all 10 lumps of the Moogle. So let's do that. Okay, this is the last one. And there we go. So now we have an empty vase, like glass, and you can see that the spell effect, like effect of the liquid being in it, has disappeared. So that's exactly what they had in mind. The idea that the actual liquid was a bit that was visually dyeable. Let's go into the housing menu just for a second so we can pass through furniture and then we can see what's in there. So as you can see at the bottom of there, the extra detail is that once you eat the cherry, they leave the pip and the stalk at the bottom. Isn't that fantastic? I'm sorry, it's the little details that I love in this game, especially when it comes to housing items. This is fantastic. And then you can see the bottom of the spoon there at the bottom of the glass. Is fantastic. And of course that will change the dyeability of it, right? Very slightly, because there's no longer a liquid within. And in actual fact, once you remove the liquid, it loses its dyeability. Oh, that's unfortunate. Of course, because the liquid was the dyeable texture. So by removing the liquid, you can no longer dye it. So bear that in mind. If you do want to use this as just an empty glass, you're not going to be able to change the color of it. And it also leaves some artifacting behind. These little squares. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if it's a visual bug or what that might be, but it is definitely a concern. I do love the extra detail of the pip and stalk though. That's fantastic. Very cool. Awesome. Let's quickly just move that to the side. In fact, let's put it on the floor for a second, because we also have the cluster lamp to look at. I'm very excited about this one. Wow. So there's lots of different sort of like crystal formations that you can get as housing items in this game. This is a bright blue one, obviously, and it's going to look the same no matter how I rotate this, isn't it? Pretty much. Very nice. Asymmetric, obviously. We've got different prongs and things. Yeah. For some reason, I've got this like urge to hit it with a pickaxe. It's that kind of thing. It's the thing that's instilled in your mind after you play so many, you know, RPGs over the years. So we drop the light down to 0. Of course, we've got the flickering light from the candle, but that's how much light this will put out, which is actually really nice, isn't it? If you wanted to make a nice crystal like cove or something, or like a cavern, that's something I hope to see in people's designs, like some waterfalls and some rocks through those partitions, the verdant partitions, and maybe some crystalline formations. One thing I would love to see, if somebody wants to enter this, or if Square Enix wants to take note and make this, let's get some partitions with doors in them that are designed to look like cave entrances or crystalline tunnels. Like if we could get a veranda that's just like basically a tunnel with archways either side with crystals, that would be really cool. So we could have like tunnels or fake tunnels. That would be my request, especially after seeing this. It's beautiful. So of course, let's keep this on brightness 0 for a second, and we'll look at the furnishing color, because no doubt we can change the color of the crystal, as you can see. So there's the default, there's the white. Basically, we're affecting the brightness of the blue, aren't we? We're not actually changing the color that much, although some stronger dyes like reds are going to show through. For example, ruby red there has actually brought out this really dark glow. That looks amazing. Now, of course, because of the blue being the main color and it's affecting that, it's sort of clashing, but it's making this really dark red sort of. Ooh, I like that, actually. I really like that. It's lost a lot of its luminosity by doing that. Cherry pink turns it, as you would imagine, bright purple, which is really cool. Oh, look at the way that the flame light has hit that. It brings it back to it brings out the red of that, because that's obviously how the prism of colors would work. Oh my god. So depending on how you brighten your room with different lights, with dyes, you can actually make some really psychedelic colors, can't you? Oh yeah, I mean, I could spend forever going through all of the colors. So obviously we've got browns, which is going to bring out the greens. Isn't that fantastic? Cocoon brown brings out this sort of like soft green, and then yellow on the other side, because yeah, the color spectrum is magic, isn't it? Look at that. And that's because of the candlelight. I'm getting way more impressed than I should do over a glowy rock. But, you know, this is me at this point. You know me by now. Spend like 10 minutes looking at a housing item and get complained at on Reddit. That's usually what happens with my content. But I enjoy what I do, and I like to talk about it. I'm sorry. But yeah, lots of different colors with varying different success rates. Really nice, actually. I quite like the purple that you get. Funnily enough. Right, let's turn the house lights back up to full for a second. And we'll plop this fella on the floor. This is why I decided to do it in one video, so I didn't spam the channel. And then we also have the final item, is the imitation trapdoor, which is just, it's a trapdoor. It's designed to look like a trapdoor. It doesn't have any animations associated with it. It would be really cool if you could like subcommand or right click to open this, like. But yeah, if you like trapdoors or the illusion of having more space, sometimes like fake partition doors that you can put on walls, like fake wall things, give you the idea that yes, there is another room behind there, but there isn't actually. This is again the same kind of feel, and of course you can change the coloration of the wood. And because we only have single dye channels in the game at the moment, we can only dye the middle section. Hopefully in the future the second channel very simply would affect the metal. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Darker colors bringing out quite a lot of grain, actually, surprisingly, but brighter colors really helping sort of make this thing stand out. That is a very alarming trapdoor if it was bright red, that's for certain. The use case scenario is probably different shades of brown to go with whatever color the floorboards are, right? In your house, or whatever flooring you've gone with. Yeah, really cool item. It could be bigger. That's always a big concern. And obviously there's not a lot crammed into this as a single item, so the housing placing limit will make it so that it's less likely to be used by me, because at the end of the day I like to place something that adds more than just one decorative element to a space. Like this, for example, the Secrataire is full of detail, as opposed to having to place these items yourself on there. So anyway, let me know what you think about these items. Personally, I'm very impressed by the cluster lamp. The lighting on that could keep me busy for hours. for better or worse. And yeah, there's some nice elements from a Secrataire. The trapdoor's awesome, but it's not my personal cup of tea of item type. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Much love. More videos on the way, not just housing. We're looking at the server stress test for the data center cloud data centers. Sorry, I've said that in the wrong order. We're looking at all sorts of other things. And I'm also working on finishing off all of my crafting relics in the game. And we're also working on the Mandeville stuff as well, in preparation for patch 6.55, where we should get the final stage of the Hildebrand relics. And hopefully we can get a video out at some point in the future looking at all those as well. Much love. Have a great time zone. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.